Hello, in this video, I will summarize you a very confusing concepts, including attributes, setters, getters, properties, and auto property. Right? So I recognize that as a beginner starting, it's very confusing to differentiate between them. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so the first thing, whenever you develop a class, you need to be very sure that a class has two things. The first one is the attribute, and the second one is the behavior. So all of this one focus on one aspect, which is attribute. And why so? So all this one is focusing on one aspect only, and this is attribute. So let's start our example. Right? So let's say that I develop a class called account. Okay. So a public class account. So this is the bank account. Okay. So you need to know that what attribute is it, right? And assume that we have this one has two attributes. The first one is an account number. So string and account number. And the second one is the balance. Right? So account balance. So this is balance. Right? So only two, right? Okay, so this is it. This is done. The next question is that do we need outside, for example, this class, the class test, to do anything to do with this attribute or not? So for example, do we want to the outside to assess the account number or not? Or do we want outside to assess the balance or not? So if we want outside to assess that one, we need the getter, right? So for example, now we introduce the getter here. So getter is a method. So public return get account number, and this one return account number. Again, right? Public string get balance, and let's return the balance. So this is for getter. Okay. Again, right? The question is again that do we want the outside to change the value of two of them or not? If the answer is yes, we want the outside. Outside means that the outside class to change the value. For example, to increase the balance, to set the balance. Then we introduce the getter. Okay, so public string void, sorry. So this is the setter, right? So for example, I want to set the setter. I want to set a new balance. Let's set a new balance. So this one is the, sorry, this one should be double. So this one is the new balance. So this one become this balance equal to the new balance. Okay, so that's it, right? So this is setter and getter. So in this situation, right, let's say that we don't want the outside to change the account number. The account number should be fixed. So we don't want the setter for this account number. Okay, so we're done for attributes, getters, and setter. Now, it's get confusing, right? So the Microsoft team is say that hey, this one look long, right? And usually they don't want a long code. They don't want long coding, so they try to make it shorter. So they introduce something called property. Property. They say that hey, this one seems to be a bit long. Maybe not this one. Sorry, this one and this one. This one is a setter. This one is a getter. This one is a setter. Right? This one is a getter, and this one is a setter. How about we combine these together? Only one method, right? And it becomes property. So the property is something like this: public void. So instead of get and set, they can combine together. So it's become, for example, balance, right? You see that this balance is uppercase to differentiate between this one and this one. Right? There's no detail, and they put the setter and the getter inside here. Okay, so for example, they set the new balance is this one balance equal to the value, and get is they return the balance. All right. And of course, because get return the balance, so this one should be a double because balance is a double. So done, right? So it means that you either using this one setter and getter separately, or you use only one line of code in here. Not one line, but one method in here. Right? So either or. So this one is alternatively. So sometimes you see all of this one, and sometimes you see this one only. Okay. Okay, so far so good, right? So this is the property. All right. So now again, right, the Microsoft they want something shorter and concise. They look at this one. Hey, I have the balance in here. And this properties, what it does is that it only set the balance attribute to a new variable, a given value, and to retrieve the value of the balance. So how about combine these two together? Okay, how about combine this one? So they combine the attribute and the property into ones only, and they call it auto property, right? And they call it auto property. So how do you do that? So instead of doing this one, they do something like this. They say that, hey, I have the attribute called balance, right? And this one is I can get the outside, have the getter, and has the setter, and that's done. So instead of writing these two portion, they only write this one portion, which includes two things. There is an attribute called balance, and there is a property called balance to set and to get the attribute. And because of that, right, you have three alternative ways, right? So in summary, you have three alternative ways. Right? So three alternative ways, right? The first one is what? The first one is of course an attribute. So this is the first one. An attribute together with the getter and together with the setter. So something like this. Right? So this is the first way. A bit long, right? So the second way is this one. The second way is this one. The second option is this one. Right? So they have an attribute and a property. This property has the get and the set to deal with this attribute. And we also have the third way, the third alternative, the third option, which is this one. Only one line of code. I have the attributes in here and the properties inside it also. We call it auto property. This one has to include two meanings into only one line of code. And because Microsoft, they tend to love to use the shorter code. So you see the third one is the most common way to do the thing. However, this one actually is for the beginner, it's very difficult to understand because it has two meanings inside only one line of code. So I hope that you differentiate through this video. You differentiate between among these attributes, setter and getter, property, and auto property. So good luck with your study, and thank you very much.